Tonight, angry anti-vaxxers rally once more as jab requirements for travellers roll out even further.
One of the last people to see the Smith family on their way to the campsite speaks. Were they followed on that fateful trip?
The Prime Minister on a mission after the US President labels his sub-deal clumsy.
Doctors' orders the Queen forced to cancel events and rest up.
Federal Police close in on Australia's most wanted man.
And Cricket Australia in mourning over the death of two of the game's greats.
Live from Perth, 7 News with Angela Sun and Tim McMillan.
Good evening and welcome to 7 News. Vaccination requirements for people travelling to WA are about to get tougher. Soon, most people will need to be fully vaccinated to enter the state.
But today, thousands push back again against a mandate to protect the majority of the workforce. Angry anti-vaxxers this time descending on Elizabeth Quay.
Another day, another protest.
My body, my choice!
Today's target, Mark McGowan, and his government's vaccine mandate that applies to 75% of the WA workforce.
Down with the clown! Down with the clown!
I would like to be able to say no.
More than 2,000 rallied. Their stage, Elizabeth Quay.
I just want my hubby to be able to go to work, my brother, my father, and have the choice.
This has got a lot more to do with love than it has hate.
The media wasn't met with love, but anger.
The media is the virus. Censorship is rife, and you guys are going to go down.
Organisers have been staging protests all week, but the turnout has been modest. Today is different. Thousands of people have descended on Elizabeth Quay.
A lot of people don't understand the importance of vaccination, and I think they're a vocal minority.
In Sydney, a new variant of COVID confirmed in hotel quarantine, an offshoot of Delta, the fastest growing strain in the UK. While in Melbourne, new freedoms and a potential new lockdown law sparking new protests.
Making up laws as you see fit.
Others had a different idea of fun.
Sausage is my favourite meal ever.
And as Victoria opens up, WA tightens up. Most travellers coming into the state will soon need to be fully vaccinated. The new rules will come into effect on Friday for medium, high and extreme risk states, while jurisdictions classified as low risk will come into play on November 15. Anna Hay, 7 News.
7 News understands police are investigating whether someone may have been following the Smith family the night before their daughter's suspected abduction. It's been 2 weeks since Cleo was last seen in her family tent. Police turned to the telcos today to help identify people in the area who are yet to come forward. Crime reporter Joey Catanzaro has this exclusive report.
The night before Cleo vanished, on their way out of town, the Smith family pulled into this bottle shop in Carnarvon.
I served him at 5:30 p.m. at Al's Liquor. Quite possibly there was someone following him.
The stop at the drive-through bottle shop isn't significant. Police are interested in who may have been driving behind the Smiths.
It seems strange how it was so calculating and so precise what they did. It's hard to imagine it being random.
Was the family followed? Was someone stalking Cleo? Officers have been collecting CCTV up and down the main road out of Carnarvon for days. It's the road the Smith family took when they left town for their camping trip at the Blowholes on October 16. At 6:23 the next morning, Cleo's mother Ellie awoke to find her 4-year-old daughter gone. The tent unzipped higher than the little girl could reach. 2 weeks on from her disappearance, police today returned to the camping site to begin an extended search north and south of the region. In this rough terrain, there's only so far 4-year-old Cleo could have travelled on foot. There's been no sign of her and no sign of her sleeping bag. But if someone did take Cleo, as police now suspect, they could have carried her much farther than she could have walked alone.
There's a feeling of brokenness in the town. Nothing hurts like this.
As the search enters a desperate day 15, everything is being thrown at finding Cleo. 7 News understands police are using mobile phone towers to try and identify who was in the area at the time of her disappearance. They believe there are people who have yet to come forward, people they are trying to track down. And there's still the mystery car seen leaving the blowholes, which is yet to be identified. 2 weeks on and still there's no sign of Cleo. Another thing that's gone. This town's innocence. People in Carnarvon say they never used to worry about their children, but that sense of security was taken when someone took Cleo. Bringing her home is why this Osborne Park business is printing hundreds of these shirts.
So police want to focus on distributing them to the 1,000-kilometre radius of where they believe she was last seen.
This one is the smallest, custom made for Cleo's baby sister in her favourite colour.
This story has just absolutely rocked all of Australia, and I feel like the community all feels very helpless and everyone just wants to do something to help. 14
days, 11 hours and 28 minutes since Cleo was reported missing. Still no sign of the 4-year-old, and the clock is ticking. In Carnarvon, Joey Catanzaro, 7 News.
A 50-year-old man has been flown to hospital after crashing his quad bike north of Perth. Live now to Cassidy Moscone at Royal Perth Hospital. Cass, how's he doing now?
Tim, doctors here tell me he's in a stable condition, which is good news considering he suffered serious injuries to his upper body. He came off the four-wheeler on the sand dunes in the small coastal town of Ledge Point, which is about 120 kilometres north of Perth, just before 1 this afternoon. He hit a rock and landed on his shoulder. The RAC rescue chopper raced in, he was put in a brace and flown down here to Perth. He'll stay here overnight at least. Ange?
Cassidy, thank you. The Prime Minister has vowed to crack down on social media giants as he prepares to meet with world leaders at the G20 in Rome. But his first major hurdle, trying to make good with the French president after Joe Biden admitted the deal that cost France billions of dollars was clumsy.
Scott Morrison's view, when in Rome, do as the Australians do.
It's my job to represent Australia's national interest.
And says he will do that at the G20 on the key issues of COVID, recovery and climate, as well as his own issue forcing social media giants to stamp out bullying and harassment on their platforms or face consequences.
We can't have a digital world that plays by different rules to the real world.
Neither China's Xi Jinping nor Russia's Vladimir Putin are at the meeting, an opportunity for Western leaders to set their own agenda on the pandemic and the Pacific. US President Joe Biden was among the first to arrive, with wife Jill straight to an audience with Pope Francis, praising the Pope's leadership on COVID and climate.
You are the most significant warrior for peace I've ever met.
Scott Morrison will have a series of one-on-one meetings with world leaders here in Rome, from Boris Johnson to Indonesian President Joko Widodo. One leader, though, definitely not on his diplomatic dance card, French President Emmanuel Macron. Mr Macron did meet Joe Biden, though, the US President pleading ignorance, believing Australia had spoken to the French President before sinking its $90 billion submarine deal.
What we did was clumsy. It was not done with a lot of grace.
And President Macron let Scott Morrison know exactly what he thought about it in a terse phone call on Thursday, their first conversation since the diplomatic controversy exploded more than a month ago.
We've started the way back. I think that's a positive thing.
But it could be a long way back.
And Mark Riley is in Rome for us this evening. Mark, is Joe Biden blaming Scott Morrison for this controversy?
Well, Ange, when Joe Biden says what was done was clumsy and not done with a lot of grace, he is pointing the finger directly at Scott Morrison, the US president, the head of our most powerful ally, suggesting he either misunderstood what the Australian Prime Minister was telling him, or worse, was misled by him on what sort of notice was given to the French president before the axing of that submarine deal and the international simulcast announcement of the AUKUS plan. Either way, it makes for an intensely uncomfortable 4 days for Scott Morrison. 2 of them here at the G20 at Rome, followed by another 2 at Glasgow at the climate conference, in close quarters, in conference centres, in small rooms, with both President Joe Biden and President Emmanuel Macron. To be a fly on the wall at that. Tim?
Mark, thank you. Firefighters are investigating what caused a serious factory fire in Perth's east. More than a dozen fire trucks were sent to tackle the blaze, which broke out inside a container at a 4-storey grain factory in Welshpool. Conveyors spread the burnt grain throughout the building, making it difficult for crews to reach. The extent of the damage is not yet known.
And in breaking news, showbiz legend Bert Newton has died aged 83. Newton has graced Aussie screens for more than 60 years. The icon was a Logie Hall of Fame inductee and is a 4-time Gold Logie winning entertainer, even hosting the ceremony on 17 occasions. He was known for his collaborations opposite Graham Kennedy and Don Lane on their variety shows and appearances with his wife Patty. The TV personality started his career in radio before becoming a TV fixture. He was considered an industry pioneer and one of the longest-serving television performers in the world. And a 66-year-old man has died after he crashed his Harley-Davidson in Mardella. He was travelling on Light Body Road when he lost control and collided with a tree. It happened around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Major crash investigators are asking anyone who might have witnessed the accident to come forward.
There are new concerns tonight over the health of the Queen, forced into another 2 weeks' rest on the advice of doctors. Europe Bureau Chief Hugh Whitfield is in London. Hugh, Her Majesty's withdrawn from more upcoming events.
Tim, after pulling out of the Glasgow Climate Summit next week, the Queen's diary was already looking fairly light, but confirmation overnight Her Majesty won't be attending a key Remembrance Day church service in 2 weeks' time. The palace says the Queen needs to continue to rest after a hectic return to work this month, followed by a night in hospital. We're told the monarch will continue with light duties at her desk, which will include the sort of virtual audiences over Zoom we've seen this week, but no outside engagements for a fortnight. It's her intention, we're told, to be at the Cenotaph in London for Remembrance Sunday, one of her most important duties. That's on November 14. As ever, the Queen, according to her aides, remains in good spirits and has apparently in the last 24 hours recorded the video message that will be played to world leaders in Glasgow. Ange.
Hugh, thank you. There are calls for an audit of New South Wales government spending after Gladys Berejiklian's bruising encounter at the Corruption Commission. In taped phone calls, she was heard saying then Treasurer Dominic Perrottet would do whatever she tells him. Today, support for the state's ex-premier was divided.
The Saturday splash, front page on paper and online. Gladys Berejiklian taking a walk of fame in her electorate.
How are you coping? You all right?
Have a lovely day.
Or is it infamy?
She should have known better. I mean, they govern and set the laws for us.
She's a human. We've all dated people and been in, relationships where it might not have been the right thing for her, and I think that's her private life.
At the Northbridge Hotel...
I think she's got the rough end of a stick. I think she's been pretty hard done by.
Opinions as mixed as the drinks.
Does she pass the pub test in terms of being innocent?
Don't think so, but there's a lot of very loyal voters around here.
Those who watched yesterday's explosive ICAC testimony bitter.
It doesn't look good for her, but obviously we'll wait until the various investigations have been carried out before I can pass judgment.
Those who didn't still think she's sweet.
I think Gladys is a great woman. A bit upset that she's gone.
I think she should be forgiven. And ICAC yesterday hasn't changed your mind?
No, not at all, because we are human.
The Human headline, one of many to disagree.
It was gruelling to watch all day yesterday. It was fascinating, but to watch her saying things like, send him a text saying, you are my family, and then trying to explain at ICAC that he wasn't really family, even though he had a key to her house.
Most of Gladys Berejiklian's former colleagues went to ground today, the Premier not fronting the media, as Dominic Perrottet tries to distance himself from his scandal-plagued predecessor. The new Premier yet to respond after a tapped phone call revealed the then Treasurer tweaked funding for Wagga Hospital in response to a demand from his then boss.
I know. I just spoke to Dom and I said, just put the 140 in the budget. He goes, no worries. He just does what I ask him to.
Well, it didn't sound very good. And if I was Dominic Perrottet, the first thing I'd be doing is having an audit of all these grants, all the rorting, all the guidelines which allow ministers to throw money at electorates, not on merit, but just for political purposes.
The sensational state inquiry being used as federal fodder in the push for a national integrity body.
They're a reminder of the need for a national anti-corruption commission. And Scott Morrison should have pause for thought about the comments that he's made attacking ICAC as a response to this investigation.
Amelia Brace, 7 News.
Federal police officers have arrested a former Rio Tinto employee over his role in a criminal syndicate which imported drugs via air cargo. But his arrest could be a crucial turning point in the now international manhunt for fugitive and drug kingpin Mustafa Baluch.
A privileged upbringing afforded Bennett Schwartz more opportunities than most, and this is what police allege he has done with his life. Cocaine importer. He was marched from his Rose Bay home yesterday morning.
There were 3 policemen and they were opening a car door. They took a bag out.
The 34-year-old Sydney Grammar old boy is accused of conspiring to smuggle 27 kilograms of cocaine through the post. 3 shipments disguised in modelling clay and inside a wooden box.
The packages we did detect had an origin of Greece and the United Kingdom. And we know his co-conspirator at the moment, who is on the run, Mustafa Baluch.
Baluch is Australia's most wanted man. He skipped bail on Monday, charged over a 900-kilogram importation from Ecuador. Both men were implicated in Operation Ironside, the unprecedented worldwide police sting that monitored the underworld's communications in real time.
Days leading up to Mr. Baluch skipping bail and cutting off his electronic monitoring device, that he was in contact with this gentleman, yes.
Police allege the 2 men were partners in this enterprise, that Schwartz was ingratiating himself with Baluch, suggesting he had an insider at Australian Border Force. That did concern police until they found it not to be true. Instead, they say he was meticulously monitoring publicly available information online about importations, and they were watching.
Bennett Schwartz remains in custody tonight.
Mr. Harb, why no application for bail today, sir?
And at his eastern suburbs home today.
Yeah, I'm of course shocked, but I don't have any comment. I'm supporting him.
Schwartz is suing the Nine Network after being stabbed because of a story falsely suggesting he was a police informant. Those court proceedings are now less pressing than today's. He faces a maximum life sentence. Robert Avadia, 7 News.
The US has approved Pfizer's COVID vaccine for use in children aged between 5 and 11. America's Food and Drug Administration is now expecting to make the jab available to 28 million American children. Health authorities today said they'll wait for further advice from the Commonwealth government before any plans are put in place to vaccinate young children here.
Cricket Australia is mourning the deaths of 2 of the game's greats. Alan Davidson died peacefully, surrounded by his family this morning at the age of 92. He featured in a golden era for Aussie cricket, playing 44 tests during the 50s and 60s. Davidson became the first man to score 100 and take 10 wickets in the same match. There are also tributes tonight for Ashley Mallett, the Australian spin bowling icon, losing his battle with cancer, aged 76.
Still to come on 7 News, a man critical after a horror crash in Perth's north.
Plus, a key insider has gone public, slamming safety standards on the set of Rust. Up next, why police won't rule out charges for a Hollywood star.
A speeding driver survives a fiery crash right in front of police.
Cold and calm, the moment a woman confesses to killing her husband of 24 years.
And the Terminators rant why Arnie's calling world leaders stupid liars. That's next.
There is blood on your hands!
Tash Peterson, known to most as a serial pest.
Animal abusers!
Hero or villain?
Find out why I do what I do.
The plans behind her protests. Who will she target next? Monday on 7.
A 23-year-old man is in a critical condition at Royal Perth Hospital after his ute collided with 2 parked cars in Balga around 2 o'clock this morning. His Hilux rolled onto its side, trapping him in.
I just heard the banging on the cars and screeching tires, and then the 2 bangs when he hit the 2 cars over there.
Police want to speak to anyone who witnessed the crash or saw the Hilux beforehand.
Another key insider has gone public about the shooting scene that turned deadly on the set of an Alec Baldwin Western. The young woman in charge of weapons when the movie's cinematographer was killed last week, hitting out at safety standards.
Slamming gun safety on the set of Rust, the woman in charge of it, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, had oversight of weapons last week as star Alec Baldwin fired what he thought was a harmless prop gun. The bullet killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins and lodged in the shoulder of director Joel Souza. He survived.
Encourage Miss Gutierrez-Reed to come in so we can try to determine how those live rounds ended up on set.
Instead, the 24-year-old's lawyers have released a statement. She is devastated and completely beside herself, never witnessed anyone on set shoot live rounds, and has no idea where the real bullet came from.
That's the focus of the investigation, as I stated. Why these rounds were there, who brought them there, and how they got there.
The young armourer's lawyers say Hannah had to work 2 positions and the whole set became unsafe.
This young mother, this DP, was killed on a movie set because of money.
The more questions about safety on the New Mexico set, the more speculation about criminal charges against the film's producers, including Alec Baldwin.
There is precedent in New Mexico for going after companies criminally when there were huge lapses in safety standards. So, yes, it could happen.
In the United States, Tim Lester, 7 News.
Prince Andrew has asked a US judge to dismiss a sexual harassment lawsuit against him. Today was the deadline for his legal team to respond to Virginia Giuffre's civil suit, which she filed in August. She's accused the Duke of York of sexually assaulting her in New York in 2001. The 61-year-old royal said that if dismissal was not granted, his accuser should provide a more definitive statement of her allegations, which Prince Andrew has consistently denied.
This is either the best or worst place to crash your car. A speeding driver flying off the road and smashing into a pole right in front of police. Lucky they were there too. The driver survived the fiery crash, with one officer putting out the flames while others pulled him from the wreckage.
Arnold Schwarzenegger has fired a shot at world leaders who claim fighting climate change will hurt the economy.
They're liars. They're just stupid and they don't know how to do it, because we figured it out how to do it. They can figure it out how to do it, and it's all about having the balls to do it.
The Terminator and former California governor made the comments in a wide-ranging interview ahead of the Glasgow Climate Summit.
A retired British accountant who stabbed her husband to death after a row about dinner has been found guilty of murder. Penelope Jackson claimed she'd suffered years of emotional and physical abuse. She told police her only regret was that she didn't stab him more.
February 13 this year, Penelope Jackson's 66th birthday.
He's on the kitchen floor. Okay,
the he she's referring to is David Jackson, her husband of 24 years. The pair had been sharing a celebratory meal in lockdown when an argument erupted. She stabbed him 3 times with a kitchen knife.
Well, I might just go and stab him again. Once I thought I'd get his heart. Well, he hasn't got one.
Police body cam revealing a relaxed killer.
Can I get my coat?
With no remorse.
He's an aggressive bully and nasty, and I've had enough. And when he said you wouldn't do it, I did it twice more.
Jackson claimed she was the victim, that David, a 78-year-old retired lieutenant colonel, had abused and controlled her throughout their marriage. Petrified, she could see no way out. But the jury disagreed, with Jackson found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in jail. The judge said he had no doubt David was nothing like the person his wife had described.
I know what I've done, and I know why I've done it, and if I haven't done it properly, I'm really annoyed.
In London, Sarah Greenwich, 7 News.
Coming up, Bert Newton remembered after his sudden death.
Next, a look back at his remarkable life.
And later, vaccine breakthrough, the patch that could replace the COVID jab.
Don't we
listen to Madame Esmeralda or to Logan, who says his Uncle Andy knows a bloke who knows a trainer. Don't just pick your favourite colour. Everything you need to know is in the West Australian's ultimate 2021 Melbourne Cup Guide. Plus a free giant office sweepstakes poster. Only in the West Australian Monday.
As reported earlier, media personality and icon Bert Newton has died suddenly, aged 83. Here's a look back at his remarkable life and career.
For more than 60 years, Bert Newton made us laugh.
Right.
By simply having fun himself. The master of timing.
Oh. May I?
Excuse us.
Congratulations.
The perfect sidekick.
Without you, I'm nothing. Without you, I'm nowhere.
And it was all so natural.
It's a good feeling for me in television. It's not the sort of thing that that ever makes me nervous. I sort of trust myself on television.
Ladies and gentlemen, Albert Watson Newton.
It all started when, as a Boy Scout, he appeared on a kids' radio show.
It was like going into a magic kingdom for me. And from that day onwards, the only thing I wanted to do was to be a radio announcer.
He had his own radio show at 15, his own Channel 7 show at 18.
Hello there. Welcome once again to the programme. Nice to have your company. According to most of the girls around here, Frankie Davidson is a living doll.
Then on to Graham Kennedy's In Melbourne Tonight. Bert's first live ad was meant to run 30 seconds. It went 27 minutes.
There's perfume too. Yes. Whose head was there? Jeff Cork? Oh.
There followed 16 years of live-to-air chaos.
Now hit me and say, get up.
It revolutionised what was, until then, very conservative, very staid Australian TV.
I think I'll ring that marriage counsellor.
Don't bother.
Why not?
I'm already here.
I was the straight man, but occasionally I got a laugh too.
Here's Don!
Later, with Don Lane, a role reversal. Bert played for laughs.
You know what to say, don't you? You see?
You've got balls.
But here is the highlight for this evening. I'm going to let you play with them.
The highlight, dressing up for Bert's wheel. Surprise for the viewers, surprise for Don. A four-time Gold Logie winner, he hosted the awards 19 times.
Very sorry the show started a little later than usual tonight. We had to wait until last year's finished.
There, when American actor Michael Cole was the first to swear on live Australian TV.
Oh, shit. Congratulations, Mike.
The network got 300 calls complaining. The show was replayed on Sunday afternoon, and that bit was edited out. We got 1,200 calls complaining that we'd edited that little bit out.
But most famously, he inadvertently insulted Muhammad Ali.
I like the boy.
Did you say Roy or boy?
I like the boy. There's something wrong with saying that?
I managed to get out of it, but I feel to this day only just.
Throughout it all, alongside him, his wife Patty, herself a performer.
This is the one, yeah.
10,000 people crashed their wedding. With children Lauren and Matthew, they became our first family of showbiz. An actor, Matthew has been plagued by depression and addiction and was accused of assaulting 2 girlfriends, breaking his parents' hearts.
We support him, we want him to get well, but in this particular situation there are no winners at all.
As Bert revived his career on stage,
Wonderful, they called me wonderful.
He faced constant health battles with pneumonia, a quadruple heart bypass, and earlier this year, infections led to a leg amputation, a desperate attempt to buy time.
It's mainly for the grandchildren because he wants to watch them grow.
When you met Bert Newton, you realised he just loved what he did and was amazed he could do it for 6 decades.
I think the reason he's lasted so long is because he's real. What you see is what you get.
Nick McCallum, 7 News.
A needle-free COVID-19 vaccine developed by Australian researchers is a step closer to becoming a reality. The micro-patch has passed initial studies and will move to human trials next. A potential game-changer for those with a needle phobia.
Lining up for a COVID-19 injection is a frightening prospect for some.
Tiny bit afraid of needles. I'll do it. It's fine.
I've got my vaccination all done and it's not a pleasant experience.
But relief is in sight. University of Queensland scientists and biotechnology company Vaxxus have developed a syringe alternative, a 9mm wide micro-patch coated with the Hexapro COVID-19 vaccine.
Putting the vaccine just into those skin layers is a really effective way of giving a vaccine.
Animal studies show just one patch stamped on the skin is enough to guard against COVID-19.
Has the ability to enhance the immune response as well as allowing us to deliver a fraction of the dose but still achieve that same antibody response.
Unlike some of the current vaccines, it's more resistant to heat and easy to distribute and use.
It's as simple as pushing down and pressing click, and that actually applies the patch to the skin.
The patch is welcome news for people like Gail and Tony Clark, whose grandson suffers an intellectual disability.
If you can just eradicate that pain and replace it with just a little patch, it's a winner for everybody.
COVID-19 is just one possible use for this patch. The researchers are trialling the technology for other diseases, including measles and rubella. It's due to begin human trials next year. Christina Harrison, 7 News.
You're watching 7 News live from Perth.
After the break, what a mess. Melbourne's major clean-up after a monster storm.
The new drug helping men with prostate cancer live longer.
And coming up in sport, why David Warner is key to beating the old enemy. And the Scorchers put on a show at Lilac Hill.
Now, Fuel Watch. Perth's petrol prices brought to you by Fuel Watch and 7 News.
Victoria's worst-hit storm victims are being warned they could be without power for days as an epic clean-up continues. A family of 6 has recalled the moment their home was crushed by towering trees.
A row of 10 massive cypress pines came down, 7 a direct hit into the Hanson family home.
Frightening, because we didn't know whether any other trees were going to fall. We didn't know if the house was going to fall. We didn't know if the roof was going to cave in.
The family of 6 was inside around 7 yesterday morning, high on a hill in Lower Plenty when they gave way. As its roof caved in, 2 boys were remarkably in a corner unharmed as the kitchen below copped it too.
I could see it falling down towards him. I just screamed and I grabbed him and we just ran as fast as we could out of the kitchen.
Bricks, tiles, plaster and debris fell inside.
If these bricks hit me, I'd be dead, or Eve would be dead.
The family couldn't get through to the SES all day yesterday. Today there were still more than 92,000 houses and businesses without power and around 120,000 without NBN connection as more video emerged of the wild wind battering the state.
Whoa, Jesus me!
This roof came from an apartment 2 doors away. It now has a blue view out the front and out the top too. There's so much damage in some parts you wonder where do you even begin to start cleaning up. So today it's about making property safe before then determining whether it's about repair or demolition.
You just think how nobody got hurt, they're lucky.
Paul Dowsley, 7 News.
Australian men with high-risk forms of prostate cancer have been given a greater chance of survival. It's all thanks to a new drug now available at a fraction of the old price.
Prostate cancer hasn't stopped Peter Bruin from living a full life. For the past 12 months, he's been using a drug called Nubeqa, which has reduced the amount of cancer in his body, but it comes at a cost.
There's a lot of people out there who need it. And if it's too expensive, lots of people can't afford it.
At $40,000 a year, Nubeqa has been out of reach for many Australians, but today it was listed on the PBS.
It will help over 1,000 Australian men access a treatment that can save their lives or protect their lives for as little as $6.60 a script.
The drug is most effective on cancer which has not yet spread but has stopped responding to traditional hormone therapy.
What a drug like Nubeqa does is puts an extra block on these tumour cells and really prevents them from using any testosterone or any testosterone-like hormone that may be floating around in your body.
Patients with prostate cancer like Peter can have a PSA blood test which detects prostate cancer and measures cancer cells in the body. Since using Nubeqa, Peter's PSA has dropped from 3.5 to 0.2.
So that's more than 99% down just in 12 months. So that's a very, very good drug, and I haven't had any side effects whatsoever.
The risk of death for men on Nubeqa is 31% lower than those on traditional hormone therapy alone.
A life-saving treatment now more affordable. Melina Saris, 7 News.
Ryan's here with Saturday Sport, and Ryan, a big night of cricket ahead.
That's right, Ange and Tim. We're taking on the old enemy in the cricket tonight at the T20 World Cup. Find out why teammates believe Dave Warner is the key. Plus, a thriller at Lilac Hill. Sophie Devine steps up as the Scorchers and Strikers do battle. And record breaker Kyle Chalmers creates history in Russia. England, be warned. Newfound form will see David Warner bring an aggressive attitude to tonight's crucial T20 World Cup clash. Teammates convinced his drought-breaking 65 against Sri Lanka will have Warner up for the Poms.
He likes taking on the big teams. I'm sure we've seen puffing his chest out, and he's someone that our whole team absolutely loves playing alongside.
Ominous signs for Australia with Ben Stokes getting Ashes ready. The all-rounder appears over that finger injury and eager to be England's X-Factor this summer. Unbeaten Pakistan top Group 2 at the World Cup. Asif Ali belting 4 sixes off 1 over to get them home against Afghanistan.
Goes again over the offside, gets plenty of that. 4 sixes in the over for Asif Ali, and that is it for Pakistan.
How's this for hard luck? Andre Russell run out at the non-striker's end for a duck without facing a ball. But Russell hit back bowling to deny Bangladesh victory off the final delivery. The Windies winning a tight one by 3 runs. Back-to-back sixes from Scorchers skipper Sophie Devine have handed the Scorchers their second super over victory, needing 10 runs off 6 balls to defeat the Adelaide Strikers at Lilac Hill. Devine was simply too powerful for the South Australians.
And again, does she do it in 2 hits? You better believe it. The Scorchers captain loves the super over. It doesn't matter if it's one of the best T20 bowlers in the world in Megan Shute. She goes bang, bang, 6-6. And the Scorchers with a home win, their second super over win in this competition.
After 5 matches, the Scorchers are third on the ladder. They host the Sydney Sixers tomorrow at Lilac Hill from 1:50 p.m. And WA held off South Australia at the Wacker today. Hilton Cartwright was spectacularly run out for 15, but 38 runs from Cam Green guided WA to a 6-wicket victory. Bombers coach Ben Rutten says a taste of finals footy has left his players with a burning desire to go deeper into September next year. And he'll have a fit and firing Harry Jones, who's primed for a big season as he recovers from foot surgery.
Back home for a good cause, Harrison Jones is hungry for success after the Bombers' finals campaign fell short.
I feel like I've got a lot of unfinished business from last year.
Certainly it's given the guys a bit of a taste. I think there'll be, a bit of a fire for us for the summer.
2 weeks off a return to the hangar, Jones is still recovering from a foot injury, but hopes to be right for round 1.
Thought I started to play some pretty good footy towards the end of the year. Yeah, I just want to keep building and keep getting better. I'm sort of excited to see what I can do.
And his coach is backing him to have a big impact in 2022.
There's just so much improvement left in him as well, and he's one of those guys who's really he's got an infectious personality and he's going to be a key driver for our group.
Both stopped by their local footy club in Gisborne to celebrate a special milestone. More than $104,000 raised for Fight MND this year.
Unbelievable, and I think I'm a little bit proud that it is my local club.
In the 7 years since Neil Danaher set up Fight MND, the charity has raised $63 million, and they're hoping that receives another boost next year with bigger crowds back at the footy.
And he is so proud of the impact that grassroots footy can have in raising funds.
Laura Spurway, 7 News.
He may have missed out on gold in Tokyo, but Kyle Chalmers is in rare form in the pool. In the final leg of the Swimming World Cup in Russia, Chalmers broke the 100-metre freestyle short course world record. The Rio gold medalist shaved 0.1 of a second off the previous mark set 13 years ago in the controversial supersuit era. Sydney played host to the third richest race in Australia today, the $7.5 million Golden Eagle. I'm Thunderstruck took out the big race in a barnstorming finish.
I'm Thunderstruck went boom over the top. I'm Thunderstruck got up to win the Golden Eagle.
Honestly, I was a passenger. He just took me to the line and I just made a point of not getting in his way, and he delivered in spades.
And at Flemington, the build-up to next Tuesday's Melbourne Cup is underway. Having won the Cox Plate last week, jockey John Allen rode Hitotsu to victory in the $2 million Victoria Derby. And short-priced favourite Incentivise has eased in the betting for the Melbourne Cup after drawing barrier 16. Anton De Pasquale has lit up the track at Sydney Motorsport Park tonight in the top 10 shootout. De Pasquale scorched the competition.
Here's the checkered flag. Race number 20 of the championship belongs to Anton De Pasquale in the Shell V-Power Racing team.
Championship leader Shane van Gisbergen finished second, just ahead of WA's Brodie Kostecki. Our coverage continues tomorrow at 7 from 9:30 a.m. Big night in the Premier League for Arsenal. Tim, your boys?
It is, mate, yes. Away to Leicester.
Good luck.
Tough game. Thanks, Rhino.
Don't get used to this spring sunshine. There's more rain on the way. Details next.
Plus, get your lotto tickets ready. The winning numbers are after the break.
This little girl is a medical miracle. Why? Her dad, world champion Chumpy Pullen, lost his life.
Family, friends and fans across the country are in deep shock.
His soulmate wondered if she could still make his dream of a baby come true. Conceived from beyond the grave.
A significant chance that it wasn't going to work out.
Against impossible odds.
And I like to think Chump was helping us.
Sounds silly to say he would have been the best dad in the world, but
he would have been.
But he would have.
After such a travesty, this is now like my greatest gift and my purpose. It's just meant to be.
Bubba Chump.
Now, the world-first pictures of this little Aussie miracle.
You're here and you're perfect.
Spotlight brings you a story like no other.
The must-see TV event.
Perth has enjoyed a warm change. We got to nearly 25 today after a low of 10. There are storms tonight across the north of our state, but it's clear across southern WA. But a weak cold front will hit the southwest on Monday and bring a return to cool, showery weather. Interstate, sunny for Melbourne and Adelaide, cloudy for Hobart, Sydney, partly cloudy and 22, possible showers for Brisbane. Here in the west, partly cloudy and 33 for Broome tomorrow, sunny for Exmouth and Kalgoorlie, blue skies too for Geraldton and 27, Bunbury and Albany, both cool swell and partly cloudy. On local waters, winds will ease around midday, the swell reaching 2 metres. So clear tonight across the metro area, and tomorrow we'll see similar daytime temps as today. Sunny and 25 the top for Perth, then cooler Monday, just 19 with a shower or two. The same for Melbourne Cup Day, 22 and dry Wednesday, warm Thursday, then slightly cooler towards the end of the week.
And now it's time for Saturday Night Lotto draw 4203. The lucky numbers are 32, 16, 29, 26, 30, 4, and the supplementaries 43 and 37. Those numbers again are 32, 16, 29, 26, 30, 4, and the subs 43 and 37.
That's 7 News for now. Thanks for joining us.
I'll be back with evening updates. For the latest news, head to 7news.com.au. Stay with us now, though, for Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix.